Hey guys, welcome to the Founders Mindset, a series by Journey with Pushpa podcast, where we invite founders, entrepreneurs, and talk to them about how they started their venture and how they are running it. We also talk to them about their failures, how they earlier failed in their startups and what they learned from it. We are trying to learn what drives them to build these products and took it out. Like most of the people don't do nothing. Like I'm also doing nothing, man. Just interviewing them. So I really want to know what they have special, like how their mind works, what it takes, what it really takes to be a founder. So yeah, it will be a lot of fun, a lot of learning. So stay tuned, guys. Hi, guys. Welcome to the very first episode of the Founders Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Pushpak, and today we have with us Mr. Ravi Pillai. Ravi is the CEO and co founder of Entriva. He's a former founder of Uptrust. And yeah, he's been into entrepreneurship since 19, right? When he was in 19. Welcome to the show, Ravi. How are you
Yes,
doing?
all good, Pushpak. I'm doing great, and hopefully we survived the COVID phase
Yeah.
and evolved. A lot of things happened after that, but luckily we are alive and we
Yeah.
are at our peak now, like hustling, like just like how we are doing before, and everything is going great.
Here we
What's
are.
up with you,
Yeah.
Pushpak?
Yeah, everything is all right. I also survived, fortunately. So
Hmm.
here we are.
Yes, yes, yes,
So
yes.
let's,
How
yeah,
has the COVID treated you, by the way? Any change so far in your lifestyle or how?
a lot of change, man. I moved back to my hometown. Like only 20,000 people live here. I was living in Pune, like a metro city, and it's completely different. And I thought
Mm-hmm.
actually the lockdown was really good for me today. To be honest, it wasn't that bad. Lot of people suffered,
I
they
lost
lose
I
people
lost
and all.
8 kgs by the way during this lockdown. A lot of people have gained weight, but I made sure at least I am not losing on that part, on my health part. So I lost around 7 to 8. I was around 84. Right
Hmm.
now I'm in somewhere in my 77 to 74 or somewhere on that scale.
That's cool. I started doing yoga in the lockdown, so that helped me in weight loss as well.
Yoga.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, okay. Very nice, very nice.
yeah.
I used to do meditation and still do meditation. It's like a everyday game for me now. Nothing very very special for that. From that.
Hmm. So
Tell me, Pushpak, how do we start?
let's start with your first venture. Like you said, you started your journey at the age of 19, right? So what was your first venture about?
Correct. So when I started, I actually was in my college. I have done my BBA, not completed. I dropped out on my last year due to my work pressure. But when I started, I was 19. I was in my third year. I was I had started and failed one startup. Not failed, as in like I decided not to go ahead with that startup. That was
Mm-hmm.
into that's on the education segment, like how Byju's was there some on something on those lines basically.
Right.
But what I was doing when I was in third year was something when just the startup boom was just happening around in Pune. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
startups had established from various part of India, and they were just trying to establish themselves in the city called Pune.
Right,
So,
right.
and what we used to do is basically, I had a very good connect with the entire college. So I
Mm-hmm.
was providing interns for all of these startups. And once I got to know these startups need a lot of human resource to
Mm-hmm.
scale their operations at Pune. So what I decided is to form up a company and took the decision to help them out for like scaling up their operations across Pune. So
Mm-hmm.
so I named this company Upthrust. Upthrust means upward force. Okay,
Okay.
so that's what we literally did to all of these startups. We launched many of these startups: Uber Eats, Swiggy, Dunzo, Wellness Forever. All of these are right now the very well established brand across the city. But
Right.
back when they were just launching, nobody basically knew like what they were. So we were like basically taking care of educating these people across Pune,
Mm-hmm.
across different categories and geography, like right from corporate societies, colleges, malls. We were having our team spread across Pune, helping these brands to make that noise and make people understand how these brands are going to be helpful in their day-to-day life. You can order
Right.
food, you can order a cab, you can do X, you can do Y, all on that scale basically.
So at the
So I was just
man,
19. Yeah.
yeah, you were 19 and you started Uptrust, right? So how did you close clients like Uber and Swiggy? You know, like these are the really big companies, and how can someone trust a college kid basically?
So I back then when I was in my 90, I actually started working a year or 1.5 year ago. Actually, when I was in my 18s,
Mm-hmm.
so I had a very decent, a very good work ethic. So I was like a workaholic basically, and I used to work a lot, and that had helped me to gain a good name across different companies, and people
Mm-hmm.
actually started basically suggesting me when it comes to marketing. I was really good in terms of communication and closing deals, in
Right,
short.
right. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people used to refer me as an intern, has someone who knew, has someone who can basically who knew Pune region and who also had a good number of college students in connection, so that I
Mm-hmm.
have a workforce in place basically to scale any kind of operations. So
Right.
that's what I started with one client. So my first client was basically a beauty parlor.
Okay.
Okay, I used to do marketing for a beauty parlor. Then I basically that guy gave me. He had also another business of his own, like a garage, a small garage. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he gave me his reference, and basically I started working for him also. Then he gave me a restaurant. That's how I scale up very small, humble beginnings. Basically, I used to work alone. I had a team of 4 to 5 people who
Mm-hmm.
were on project basis. I used to hire them on a project role. Basically, I used to pay them around 10 grams, 15 grams per project, and that's
Mm-hmm.
how I used to hire them. I
Right.
started, and that's how basically the connections grew, and suddenly I started getting calls from big brands like Swiggy. Then Swiggy gave me connected me to Grofers. Then Grofers connected me to Uber, and that's how it's a very small
Awesome.
world, Pushpak,
Yeah.
to be frank. And once you get into the industry, and you quickly, if you're really working hard, and if you people start basically seeing your work and they start trusting you, then that's not a very big challenge to see. That's what I feel. That's what I have been through so far.
Yeah, you know, like one of the thing that people struggle with how to start. Like nowadays,
Hmm.
people have a lot of idea. Even students, even fresh, like once you are done with the college, so how to start? Where do I start? I have lots of these ideas. On which idea should you work? Should we work on? How to actually start? There are lots of videos on YouTube. There are lots of gurus out there, but what is the way? Like, what is that small advice that you would give to how actually to start? Like, and how do we know that we are doing the
So,
right thing basically? So we can do a lot of things, but some of things might not be right? So how do we know all these things?
so it's only through trial and error, Pushpak. So how we started was, again, I just started. Okay, I never said no to an opportunity because there were a
Mm-hmm.
lot of opportunities. I kept saying yes to each and every one of them. Okay, and let's say if I say yes to 10 opportunities, okay, then I learned that out of them 7 are really good for me, 3 are not meant for me. Okay,
Right.
then I politely refused it. Now the
Mm-hmm.
next time those 3 kind of opportunities come, then I have a better knowledge. See, these are the kind of opportunities which are not really meant for me. So I can say no the second time right from the beginning. Correct. So it's always
Mm-hmm.
about starting head start. Like go it, just do it. Yeah. Like there's nothing hard and fast. There is no strategy. There's nothing. Especially
Mm-hmm.
when you are basically young, when you are in your teens, like 18s or 19s. So the best thing you can do is just go and give yourself that exposure, and not just think too much. What will happen then? What will happen now? Or like how will I grow? What will happen? What is my career? It's more about falling down and then learning, and and not really about the what will happen, thinking at first and then trying to do anything else. So
Right.
it's all like it happens all for your good,
Mm-hmm.
and since you have that time advantage, it's also not a very bad deal for you, right? Even if you fail down the line 2 years, you still will be in your 21s or 22, and that's also a very good spot to be. You at least have that 2 years of experience where you know what not to do.
Right,
That's what I
right.
feel. But and it's not that I never faced failure. I have multiple failures. But again, I take it as a part of the game. Actually, that's
Mm-hmm.
nothing hard and fast. There is no success or failure for me. It's just purely on experience part for me. So
Right,
that's
right.
what I have been taking it, and that has been working out really well for me.
Right, right. So I remember about the Upthrust. Upthrust was a completely offline platform, right? And you were doing really great,
Correct.
and then the pandemic hit, right? So what
Correct.
happened? What happened to Upthrust then?
So Upthrust was basically a hardcore marketing company. Okay? In
Mm-hmm.
marketing, we used to do customer acquisition management and customer experience management.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what we did was we basically we used to identify a target audience for different kind of businesses, and we used to design marketing plans on an offline scale. Online
Mm-hmm.
usually used to happen from the head offices, right from their headquarters, and they have a central cyber. But for offline, they used to take support from like marketing companies like us. Okay, and
Yeah.
like, but when the pandemic hit, okay, what usually happened was a lot of people were laid off, a lot of marketing managers were laid off, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
marketing budgets were cut down. Okay, and again, offline marketing, if anyone in this industry is like hearing this out, so they must be knowing it's not a very it's a very expensive game. Okay, it takes a lot of budgets. Okay, like
Mm-hmm.
on an average, we used to get a monthly budget of 3 to 5 lakhs minimum from a
Mm-hmm.
client, and we used to deal with multiple such clients. Okay, and spending that amount of money during COVID was not possible because due to multiple reasons. There was government restrictions, there was lockdown, there
Right.
was basically a lot of layoff, demand was very low. So it was not making sense for any of these companies to invest on marketing on offline scale. Online, since every other person was staying at home and was consuming the internet, sitting at home, working from home, like consuming the Netflix, the OTT platforms, all of these platforms. So it made more sense to all of these companies to invest on online and not on offline. So
Mm-hmm.
that's when I decided for at least this entire year or two, okay, it won't be advisable to stick to this particular thing, and like we have to come up with something else. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what basically we had to put basically a halt on the Uptrust operation, and we came up with a completely new concept, a new brand, and new company altogether, and to deal with this. And again, we had a success in this as well, and it's going good so far. But what I'm doing for Upthrust is I started basically we switched this model to a consulting a model now. So we do consulting. I myself do consulting for a lot of early stage startups wherein they have just
Mm-hmm.
started people in their early 20s, early 21s, and people who are just their first time like business owners. So we are trying to help them out to build the right strategy for the company and how to scale up. Since
Mm-hmm.
we have a hardcore idea of how you can scale from zero customer to a 10,000 customer, that's what we were doing for all of these brands back then. And the strategy will remain the same. The concepts will remain the same. So we are going to use the same strategy and same concept, and going to help all of these new early stage startups to build their like their customer figures across the city. That's what we are
Mm-hmm.
trying to do.
Right.
And we already have around 3 to 5 paying clients for us, who are just paying me for the strategy part. So that's
Cool.
really working out well for me. That's
So
it.
tell us more about your new startup. What exactly it is? It's Intriva, right? So what
Yes.
exactly
So
it is? Who are your customers and how you started this?
so our new startup is something literally like what we figured it out. It's basically a combination of lot of things. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Intriva. So Intriva means it's a combination of two words actually, intra and RWA. Okay. If you ask me what is RWA, RWA means Residential Welfare Association. In short, a society.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody across the metro cities they stay in a society. Most of the population.
Right.
Correct. So, and right now, after the lockdown and pandemic, which a lot of people are working from home. They are staying in a society for most of the time. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an opportunity. This basically we are a pandemic inspired startup. This Intriva, the concept of Intriva is pandemic inspired
Mm-hmm.
actually. So what we figured it out is it is a very right now we have a very huge opportunity for intra-premise convenience. Okay. So
Okay.
people again who are staying inside a premise, like a society or
Mm-hmm.
like a entire a city. So we need a lot of things. This is intra-premise basically. Okay.
Right.
So even back then, before lockdown, everybody either they used to be in societies or at their offices. That's like an
Mm-hmm.
IT park or a company or XYZ, whatever it can be. Okay.
Right.
So that calls for a need for a company which can deal into multiple range of intra-premise convenience. Okay, so that's what we built it called Intriva, which is an intra-premise convenience platform. And in this, we successfully launched our first category. So there are going to be multiple categories,
So
like
what exactly you are
down
doing
the line.
right now?
So we launched our first category successfully called intra-premise cloud garage. Okay,
Hmm.
so which is into your two-wheeler and four-wheeler servicing within your premises. So our
Okay.
team comes to your society, and
Mm-hmm.
right at your parking, we get your two and four-wheeler service at a very minimum cost, a very decent rate. That's it. So we bring in convenience, we bring in transparency. Since every of these things happens right in front of you, like you
Mm-hmm.
can watch your bike or your car getting serviced, and we have best in class service quality. So this
Right.
is making a huge impact right now, and we are converting a lot of customers who were traditionally caught up with the
Mm-hmm.
traditional process of getting the vehicle to a garage and leaving there, coming back, then going tomorrow. The next day they
Right,
go
right.
back to the mechanic and they get it back, right? At least 3 to 4 visits, which
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. So
We assure them
how many
that.
customers do you have till now?
So far, like we launched it 3 months back, and without
Mm-hmm.
even having a website, it's purely right now we operated so far just through an. So we used to get orders right on our WhatsApp numbers, and
Right.
directly the customers to call. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we scaled up to more than 1,500 customers so far, just in 3 months.
Amazing.
So that's literally for 500 customers per month. That's what we
Mm-hmm.
did so far. And we used to sign up contracts with societies. So since they liked our services, they proposed us we can have like every weekend we can organize such kind of activities inside the societies and
Mm-hmm.
solve all the residential members' problems, whoever is facing like all these challenges. That's what. And down the line, we are going to be launching intra-premise cloud kitchen. We will be tying up with a lot of restaurant players over here, and we'll be giving them opportunities to market their core products. Like
Mm-hmm.
every restaurant has their one core product, so we'll be giving the opportunity in a premise scale where they have a good ready audience sitting who will be ordering right like directly to that just one just like only one player right over there. So and Cloud Kitchen will be like we have already launched. We have tied up with a couple of good brands across Pune, and we
So
started
means
the
how exactly
our.
it will happen? It's like suppose we are like, can you give an example? Like if I'm in the society and I want to order something, then how it happens? Is it a offline order
So
or what?
how it happens is right now what we did is just to have a beta testing. We proposed a concept to one of our restaurant brand, and they have right now designed a food truck. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
a very beautiful food truck they have designed. And what we do is on weekends, like on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we announce it to all the society members. There's going to be like a small food festival kind of thing inside your society,
Mm-hmm.
and you can order our like so right now we're tied up with a five-star restaurant basically because it's coming from a good five-star restaurant and we will be
JW
getting a
Marriott,
five-star
right? They
meal.
have this truck from
It's
there.
Courtyard, not it's Crown Plaza
Okay,
in
Crown
Pune.
Plaza. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we get the food truck inside the society, and the residents can basically have designed a chatbot for ordering because these chatbots are basically spread across the flat, and residents can start ordering from this thing. And we have a team of delivery guys who delivers right at the doorstep without any delivery fees.
Awesome,
So that's
amazing.
the model, and we get a really good numbers from there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a small model which we're working on. This is not the complete model. There'll
Right,
be a lot
right,
of
right.
things like adding and subtracting from this element. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna happen
So
this.
how large is your team? How large is your team? Because as you said, you were into a marketing, completely marketing, and you are right now into this completely different segment, and you are providing a servicing, car servicing services basically. So how did you manage all these things? How did you get like you have had to find a mechanics, maybe the top end mechanics and all the equipments and the people also. So how large is your team and how are you handling all this stuff, man?
So it was a very big challenge for us in the beginning since
Hmm.
we were not from anywhere like around from this industry. But what we did was basically since again, so our role in this system is basically to acquire customers. Okay. And since we already have a hardcore experience in acquiring customers for multiple brands, so like
Mm-hmm.
we did marketing, we have acquired customers for a food app, we have acquired customers for a cab app, we have acquired customers for a rental staying app. So we have acquired customers for almost like n number of use cases, okay, or n number of industries. So that basically helped us a lot. The experience, the hardcore 4 to 5 years of experience which we had on our previous company really helped us over here. Okay, and we used to partner with a very experienced mechanic garage partners who were really supportive, and they really helped us to like give the best possible service to our customers.
Right.
And we had quality checks in place. We basically got a good engineer who helped us to create our own process of how to cater a doorstep service. What all checkpoints should be taken care of, how it should happen. We researched a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of Google researches. It basically like we
Hi, Ravi.
to do a lot of
There was a lag, I guess. Can you repeat that?
yeah
After the
I'm
YouTube.
audible.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So we used to basically like do a lot of experiments in our own vehicles. We would take that risk on our own vehicles. Only then we basically like all those processes were tested in our own vehicles. And after that, only once we had a verification key, yeah, this is really working for us. Only then we basically launched it. That's what we did.
Right. So are you planning to raise a funding or what for this? Or it's completely
Yeah,
bootstrapped?
definitely. So right now, it's completely bootstrapped. I've already spent a lot of money over here, and since COVID, we already lost a lot of money. But luckily, we had a good budget like left out for this new venture, and I planned the capital really well so far. So it was right now. It was we had that comfort of having like our operations were not stuck due to finances so far. But
Right.
down the line, yes, definitely we'll be raising funding since our operations are going well and we need to scale up very soon right now to multiple cities and multiple. Basically, we need to scale up to multiple. There's a horizontal expansion plan. There's a vertical expansion plan for both.
Right,
There
right.
are a lot of vertical integrations happening across. So down the line, we are also planning to deal into second-hand cars, like buying and selling of second-hand cars. There'll be
Okay,
vehicle
okay.
parts, a lot of things. And horizontal includes expanding to a new city. So all of these will like take a lot of capital we need to have
Right,
to
right.
take care of all of these plans, correct? So definitely we'll be going ahead, but we have different models to take care of the financials. Like
Right,
it's
right.
not we are just not focusing on getting a investment. There are also other models to work around this. So yeah, but yeah, there has to be some
Are you
financial
making
plan in place.
profits like above break even? Are you profitable?
To be very honest, yes, we are profitable, but again, the profits right now are not going above the roof since we're also having heavy marketing expenses so far. So all of the profits which we are earning right now is spending again for acquiring new customers and expanding to basically another region, a new geography from.
Right.
Even in Pune, we are focusing on an area level penetration. So basically, let's say we penetrate a part of a region, then we use those profit to penetrate the other part of the region. So that's how we are growing across Pune. So far we have around at least 15 to 20 regions we have penetrated so far, at least on 30% scale.
Okay.
Yes,
So
yes.
what kind of
Yeah.
challenges that you have while scaling it? Like what kind of challenges you are going through right now and how you are overcoming them with this company?
So since we have we had this kind of experiences before, and I've been into this field since last 5 years. So coming so far right now was not very challenging, but
Okay.
the actual challenges will be starting right now for us. Okay. So like if we want to scale up to a new city or scale up coming up with our own technology. So basically we are also we have invested heavily on our own building our own technology. So we are in the process of coming up with our own platform of having multiple functions for
Right,
managing
right.
IoT. All of these are coming right now. Okay. So the actual challenges is right now beginning for us. Okay. That is how to take care of the technology. So far, we never had a technology in place. Everything was handled by me and by my team through WhatsApp calls and through direct calls and WhatsApp messages, right? But getting a technology team, getting a tech platform, like making those tech platform workable, like making users download. A lot of things are going to happen right now. So that is the actual challenge I'm going to face right now. Expanding to new city. We already have franchisees, like basically interested people who want to take our franchisees across the
Right.
city. So going to them and setting it up for entire right from scratch. So the challenges, right, so far, whatever has happened, I've already gone through a lot of them. So it was not much like a challenge for us, but the actual challenge will actually, right now, they will start from this one.
Right.
Just scaling up to a completely new level right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what.
So where do you see yourself, at your company basically after 3 to 5 years, and what are the things that you are really curious about with the future?
So in 3 to 5 years, so there'll be, so how I planned this company was we will start from one vertical, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll be taking care of a lot of other verticals as well down the line. Okay, so we are gonna enter into a lot of other verticals. Okay, it will be more or less like how Reliance is playing its game, like spreading out into multiple verticals using its strengths and weaknesses very perfectly and very smartly. So that's what even we are trying to do over here. So as we started with two and four wheeler servicing. They're
Right.
gonna basically enter into the urban flap market basically. So the house appliances like carpenter, plumbing,
Yeah.
electricians. We're gonna move into the health sector as well, getting a health checkup right at your doorstep. Okay. So let's say you
Oh.
want to have. So there are a lot of things which you're gonna add. You have to order basically a grocery. So we are also our flagship service basically will be launched in the next month. Okay, that is basically something very new. We don't have any other company doing this so far. So that's called Intriva Concierge. Do you know any? Do you have any idea about what concierge is? Pushpa?
Sorry, pardon?
Concierge.
No.
So concierge, whenever you go to five-star hotel or whenever you go to a good place, basically, they have a concierge. They have a team of people who take care of your day-to-day needs. Like they take your bag. That's like a room service. Okay? You
Right,
just
right.
call up and tell, "See, I need a breakfast right now. Plan my trip to the nearby places somewhere." Okay, this is a
Right.
concierge service, which is basically a five-star thing. Okay, so what we are trying to do is we are tying up with these societies and we are basically giving that society a concierge team, a personalized concierge team for an entire society. So who will be taking care of the entire residents, like basically day-to-day needs. So what a Dunzo is doing right now on an app scale, that will be basically the team of people will be sitting in a society, and you can subscribe them on a membership level on a monthly, how you subscribe your Netflix, etc., etc. So you
Right,
can
right.
subscribe to a concierge, and whatever you need, right from your groceries, medicine, you want to take care of your ironing or your clothes, washing of your clothes, like getting your bike, repairing your bike out of your puncture, whatever it is. So that guy is always there in your premises, and he'll be
Right.
taking care of your all of these needs, depositing a check into the bank, or like doing the DTDC task, whatever it is, basically.
Amazing.
That's a larger goal. And down the line, we are also planning to enter the home automation space. So, like on a platform, you also have an option to like switch on or switch off your fan, light, etc., etc. So it's like there will be a lot of vertical integration happening. But let's see, touch wood. I hope everything happens in a span of 3 to 5 years.
Right. Yeah,
But
yeah.
hopefully, we are on the right track. So far, whatever we are trying to do is basically going on the positive side, and I'm really hopeful that all of these happen like just as we trying to plan.
Yeah. So, one of the things you said, the most challenging part you have is about the technical stuff. Like basically, we'll have to build an app and all that thing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So yeah. So about the technical stuff and all, right? And I know that you are coming from a non-tech background, right? So it is like a lot of founders from non-tech background, they have this challenge, like how to, build the tech products. So how are you dealing with it? And what advice would you would give to a non-tech founders who want to start a tech startup or who want to get into a tech, learn more about it?
So the major challenge, of course, that it is basically huge challenge for a non-tech founder to get into the tech game. just because they like lot of there are a lot of variables which are not in control for us. Okay,
Yeah.
so the reason like since the last 3 months I didn't go for a tech platform is because I'm still finding a partner for me. Like, I'm finding a good company who's
Right.
giving me the right kind of platform at the
Mm-hmm.
right kind of costing at the right kind of timeline. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the only things which matters when it comes to building a platform. You need the right guy or a right team or right company who's able to take care of your needs. You need the right kind of costing from them so that it is budget friendly. You have those budgets to put in, and you have the right kind of time frames. So that a lot of companies they say "Okay, it will take 6 months, 3 months, eight months, XYZ. And
Right.
are they able to meet all of your needs? And what is the wavelength of there should be a wavelength match from your team and their team. They should be able to understand your vision, your passion, your entire thing, see how this entire thing is functioning, and there should be very strong alignment like in between your team and their team. And that is
Mm-hmm.
where the difficulty and challenges are. But luckily and fortunately, I have found one of these companies across in Pune itself, and who have this kind of experiences, and they have come up with a good budget for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll be going it shortly with them, and within a month's time, we'll be having a very good platform in place so that we can like scale up across India. So yeah, it's basically a matter of time. You need to keep
Right.
looking, you need to keep finding, and you need to meet a lot of people in this industry. You need to meet a lot of companies, inquire them, like take a demo from them, go and meet their teams. It's all about basically meeting a lot of people and getting to know. So when I talk to those people, I try to get a lot of knowledge. Like
Mm-hmm.
every person I meet in the industry, I learn something. So
Right.
let's say if you are an IT guy, I basically call you, I tell this is my requirement, this is what I'm trying to do, this is my budget, this is my timing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then he proposes his part of the game.
Right.
Is it possible or not possible? Is it really like realistic or it's not realistic? And how is it possible in this budget? What we'll have to do? He'll take a lot of technical jargons that will be there. You'll try to go and Google it out. What language are they using? How is the process working? What are the wireframes? So
Mm.
lot of things are there. So you talk to a lot of people, you learn a lot of things. You go back go back home and research about all of these things. Come back to a new person, tell all of these things. Then he thinks he is somewhere. He knows he is not a new person. He knows a lot of things. So
Right.
he gives you different kind of quotes and all. So yeah, it is all about trial and test. That's it.
Right. So, when it comes to startups, like you started at the age of 19, right? But at the age of 19, we don't have money to invest in a startup. So,
Mm-hmm,
like,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
so that, like, you started it as an agency. So maybe at that time, you didn't have to invest a lot, right? Or did you invested a lot of money? But the way you're
So
investing in
luckily,
Intriva, the way you're investing in Intriva, उतना तो नहीं करना पड़ रहा होगा, right?
so yeah, I started at zero. I didn't have that kind of capital, but I also was working right from my first year. So
Okay.
so that's what I feel, Pushpak. So there is a small message which I really want to give all the
Mm-hmm.
users, because what I feel is a lot of people like see there are kept lot of range of colleges across the city, and wherever you guys stay, wherever the people are staying. So, like, we need to be very careful of what you're doing at this particular age, between the age of 18 to 25. Okay. So, luckily, when I started on my first year, I used to do a lot of freelancing projects. Okay. It can be organizing a party, a freshers party. It can be organizing a farewell party or a Halloween party. So, I basically used to like work, like no
Mm-hmm.
matter wherever I am, even it can be a college, it can be this thing. I always was trying to figure out how can I get that money flowing in my pocket.
Right.
Okay, and I earned good amount during I basically my entire 3 years college fees. I was able to earn right from one single event. I earned around 1.5 lakh from that event, and there were series of events which took place after that, and I earned every event I earned at least 50 to 1 lakh, and I was able to
Awesome.
generate that kind of revenue. So all of these revenues basically helped me to start this startup. So I was not backed just because I didn't have the revenue. That was not a stop. There was no stopping for me because I had that kind of capital. That too self earned. Like I didn't
Mm-hmm.
take it from my parents or something like that. but I earned it myself. It was not key, like I had to take money from someone. But later down the line, there was a lot of opportunities wherein I got a good investors. A lot of my friends invested in my company to scale my
Hmm.
operations. So once my operations started and things were getting bigger, that time you need that kind of financial support.
Yeah.
But for a start, the capital is not the thing you require. You only require your own self, your thought process, your decision making process. That's it. So it doesn't take money to start. It takes only you and your commitment to start. That's what I feel.
Right. But I was thinking, like, like a lot of people say that you don't need money, you don't money. But don't you think, like, when you're talking realistically, you do need money? Like I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. So again, like whenever you start, okay. So it depends. Again, it also depends a lot on the nature of company you are trying to run or what kind of
Hmm.
product are you trying to launch.
Right.
A lot of things. There are a lot of like permutations and combinations which we'll have to figure it out. What exactly
Hmm.
is your requirement? So the kind of like companies which I started and which I'm trying to run right now, like didn't really require that kind of capital, but it required more of your basically your smartness and your hustle and your
Hmm.
ability to communicate, to
Right.
close people, to sell them, to invest in you. For example, I did not guarantee any business to any of my garage partners. I was
Hmm.
just like basically just went them, met them, told them this is what I'm trying to do, and
Hmm.
that's how the customer will start going in, and this is the process which you need to follow, and that's how you start earning. Okay, and they were convinced. I like this logic. It was pure logic, and they thought, yeah, ये बंदा सही बोल रहा है. कि down the line this might be the trend in this industry. So
Right.
why
Right.
not? Let's give it a shot. So
Hmm.
it's always about what kind of concept you're trying to work it out and what is the industry scenario right now. Sort
Right.
of thing. Of course, there will be some part of the game wherein it might require capital to come up with a prototype. Let's say if you're trying to manufacture something like a part or something. So
Hmm.
this kind of thing will require capital because
Hmm.
you'll have to invest your money to build a prototype. You'll have to go somewhere. But again, there are a lot of things which you can try and you can avoid those capital or you can take help of your friends and family. So
Yeah.
again, money is there. We are staying on planet Earth filled with 7 billion people and everyone has their money. So you should be able to communicate and take, like you can transfer those money across whatever you're trying to do. That's what I see.
Right. So,
Yes.
yeah. So, at the time of pandemic, the upthrust stopped. Like you had to stop your operations. A lot of people gave up on their startups and shut down their businesses and all. So, what kept you going at that time also? Because that was a really scary time for most of us, and your company was completely offline. So, how did you manage that kind of thing? Like, how did you came up with?
So this period between the period of May till the period of August September,
Hmm.
okay. So this was a very hectic and very scary period for us all. Okay, so again, since we were no longer in operations, okay, we had to do something else. So I didn't leave my team alone. I didn't like let go of my team actually. I paid them the rent. I paid the rent. I was able to. I was paying them the salary. I lost
Hmm.
I lost a lot of money over there as well. Okay,
Hmm.
but what we did is we did a lot of different things basically. So once the pandemic started, we figured out that since there is offline part is not there right now, but we can do. We were good in sales. We had a very good sales process in sales. So we tried to tweak that process and come up with a model wherein we can close a customer over a call. So we started something like we had a team of interns who were calling and closing customers of
Hmm.
basic like grocery items. There'll be a lot of startups popping up who are getting into grocery. So we
Hmm.
used to help them to acquire customers over telephonic medium. So, but
Right.
again, that really didn't work out well. Then we entered the COVID space, a lot of COVID products, where we came up with this brand called Anti-COVID Hub, wherein we tried trading into COVID products and on bulk.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
if a company wants to, there's a IT park or IT company, they want to get their premise sanitized and basically they can place order a bulk volume for buying masks and a lot of things for that. But again, everybody started doing that, so we thought, okay, let's not get into this crowded space, and that's when we started focusing on the demand side. We try to analyze what exactly is going wrong and what exactly people need, and that's where we came up with this model. And so again, there was a startup company which helped us to get into this, and they were in this field from the beginning, and they helped us to get into this particular space. They tried, okay, this is how it is done, and etc. etc. And that's how we also we were able to catch up really quick, and we started building this kind of thing after that.
Right. Cool. So this might sound a weird question, I don't know, but like take us into your mindset. Like, how do you think? How do you look at the world? And you said, I think in the previous question you said you answered that about the money. Like money flows from people to people. You just have to take it. Like I don't know, I don't remember what exactly you said. So and other things, like about your mindset. How do you look at things? How do you make things happen? What's your perspective about life and like in general?
So, if you, what I believe, I corely believe in the concept of having a purpose in life. Okay, so that is something that's one of my very you can call it, that's my one of my strengths. I take lightly that you need to have a purpose in life. You can't just lead a life without any having a purpose, not knowing what to do.
Right.
Like I'm just trying out things. I'm adventurous. So that's not how we can lead a life, correct? So we all should have a very strong purpose in place, and you should align your life around that purpose. So, for example, my purpose is to, like, I am more, whenever I analyze myself, I'm more I'm on a people side. I'm a very people friendly person. I like to service people. Okay, so that's the reason I took marketing, because that was again more of, I get a chance to talk to a lot of people, to help a lot of people, and I was good in sales. So it's basically more on like servicing people. Basically, I used to service my clients. I was basically servicing my clients. That's what marketing companies do, right?
Yeah.
They are on a service-oriented business, basically. And again, right now also, I'm trying to service people and helping their problems. And that's what, solve problems, get the money. That's it. That's what I believe in. And whatever problems you're trying to solve is basically, that's what you need to focus on. What are your strengths, talents, etc., 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 and how can you use them and be useful in the entire system. So I take this as a game. This is a system, okay? And everything in this inside the system has a role and a function. Okay, you need to identify your roles and your functions and play the game, and that's it. And everything else will take care of itself. So it's not behind the money, or it is not because of the money. I'm not working. It's not about the money. It was never about the money. It was about what am I doing in the system. Okay, what role can I play? How can I be useful in this? And just focus on that. And it can be anything. It is not really about having a startup. It's not really about doing a business or investing, this, that. It can be anything. Tomorrow, even if I'm like, if I think I'm a very good, अगर एक झाड़ू वाला भी होता, if I think my skill is sweeping the floor, okay, I'm not going to be ashamed of myself कि यार ये क्या झाड़ू मारता हूँ. Okay? It's just about being useful in the system. Okay? Every element in the system is very useful. Okay? On its own scale, basically. So it's all about doing that thing in the best possible way. A light does the job of the light. A fan does the job of a fan. It's about doing the job so well that system is satisfied. That's what I believe in. So that's what that's what my life is all about, and that's how I have been constructing my life so far.
Right.
What are your views, Pushpak, about this?
Yeah, sounds good. But like, how do we find a purpose? Sometimes this happens if you are young, if you are in your 20s, you just want to have fun. Most of the people, right? So like finding a purpose, that's a really, tough thing. I don't know, but like, and how to, and finding a purpose is one thing, but keeping that, commitment is another thing, right? Like once you can get motivated, you can write down your purpose and you are all motivated, and then and then another day you're back to your square one, right? So what about that?
Mhm. So yeah, so you're right in a way. Basically, this happens with everyone. Basically, even it happened a lot of times with me. You always get drifted. I call
Right.
this word called drifted. Okay, it's the
Mm-hmm.
most dangerous thing which happens to a person. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you set your goal, you get committed, and after that you start drifting from your goal.
Right.
Okay, let's say you decide this is my goal and I want to start uh, from today and I'm going to achieve this,
Mm-hmm.
and within 7 days, within 10 days, within a month, you start drifting from your goal. Again, your body is basically there's a lot of things. There's on a psychological scale, on a biological scale. There's
Mm-hmm.
a proper science behind this because you need to take care of the science first. When you start learning about that science, that becomes easy for you to take care of the drifting part.
Right.
But for example, you said when you are in college, how to basically like find your purpose is basically how I did is basically what happens if you see a average trend of a person being in college. Because
Mm-hmm.
usually what happens, I have so far whatever I have observed is basically people come to college or go to whatever kind of thing they're trying to get into, and their primary objective is not uh, education. That's not actually about education. They come there, they form groups, they try to do the other stuff basically. They try to socialize, they start going into parties, they start building like they plan out to go outing, this, and the entire mind frame, everything basically is getting focused right on the entertainment part. How can I basically get into this group? This group is the popular group inside that college. I want to
Mm-hmm.
get into the group or like socialize, like date this girl or date this guy. So if I have, even you must have been in college, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
whenever you go to your first year, second year, third year, whatever year is, so you don't go, you start losing out your career goals. It's not
Mm-hmm.
about studies or education anymore. It will be always about here. What am I doing? Who is my friend?
Mm-hmm.
What are my plans tonight? Like what
Yeah.
am I drinking? What am I
Mm.
smoking?
Yeah.
So it is all about it starts drifting. Correct.
Mm.
So if you take care of that right from the beginning, okay, if you stay focused, okay, then it will be easy for you to find your purpose on a early stage. That's what I did. It's not that I didn't socialize, I didn't go out, I didn't do parties and all, but I always knew what are my priorities. Okay,
Yeah.
I always I have to do something in life, and that is what kept me basically focused and committed. And
Mm.
rest everything came after that. Like
Yeah.
I never focused on being a part of a group. That is the worst thing you can do. Become a part of a gang or a group. Okay, that gang or that group will take you down.
Mm-hmm.
100%. That is my
Mm-hmm.
guarantee.
Yeah.
You must have seen, right? They form groups, and these groups make plans every other day. They have a plan. This day
Mm-hmm.
they'll go this party they will go. After that they'll form up a house party. Then there
Yeah.
will be clashes inside that group. Again, your life takes it basically your entire life gets wasted up right over there.
And
Your
after
time
the
gets wasted.
college, like you have this college friends and all. After the college, no, like you are all alone basically. No one is there from college. That's what happens.
Absolutely, exactly. No one will come for socializing
Yeah.
once you're out of your college. They start taking care of their jobs and their businesses, their family businesses, and then if you don't have anything else to do, then you're stuck there. But
Yeah.
again, it's a learning curve for everyone. People do learn, and even they come up in life. But only thing which this duration takes from you is your time, your actual young energetic time wherein you are at your peak. So this period from 18 to 25 is like you have a lot of energy and you
Mm-hmm.
have a time to do mistakes, and you do the wrong kind of mistake. Okay, there are two
Mm.
kind of mistakes: the right kind of mistakes and the wrong kind of mistakes.
Right.
Okay, so it is better to do a right kind of mistake and learn from it rather than get stuck with the wrong kind of mistake and don't learn anything from it. So
Mm.
that's what is that's what makes a difference actually.
Right. Right.
That's what even I tell a lot of my friends, my juniors from the college, never get into a group of people and start that socializing game.
Mm-hmm.
Be alone. That is much better than getting into a group and getting into
Mm-hmm.
plans every day. Every other day
Right.
we start
Right.
making plans. That's completely useless.
Yeah. So I have last four questions for you. So what are you really into outside of work? What do you do? in your free time?
In my free time, I consult startups. I meet a lot of startup founders. I help them solve their
No,
problems.
apart from
And
work, apart from work.
apart from work, I consult people. I meet a lot of people.
Okay.
So actually, to be frank, I don't do anything apart from work.
Okay.
So I don't have a very I don't have socializing life so far. So
Mm-hmm.
it has been everything since the last 6 to 7 years. Everything has been about work. And
Mm-hmm.
I chill like I have a couple of dogs in my place. So I
Mm-hmm.
chill sometimes with them. I cook. I recently, due to lockdown, I started cooking. So I try my new stuff. I try to cook something new, and that's
Mm-hmm.
it. Yeah, that's everything consumes you. The work consumes you, and a
Yeah,
lot of things. Basically, the
right.
time gets consumed. Actually.
So what are your top three favorite books? Maybe business books or books which you inspired you basically.
So so if I go the reverse order, there is this book called like the book which I really liked because that was one of the first book which I ever read. That really got me into the game of business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, everybody must have read this book. It's a very famous book, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah,
Like we all have some point of life, you at least have heard about this book, and a lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
people
yeah.
might have already read this book. I
Right.
read this book 7 years ago. It was a wonderful book. I still remember each and everything written in that book by
Mm-hmm.
heart in my brain. The second book which I really liked is basically the 10x rule by Grant Cardone. If you have heard
Mm-hmm.
about Grant Cardone,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
really amazing. He intrigues you to take massive actions.
Right.
Again, throughout my journey of startup, this book has really helped me. I have taken this book as basically like a Bible for my hustle. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever I get basically down my like when I start doubting myself, this book I read. That's an audio version of this book, which is much better than the written version. I listen to it basically,
Mm-hmm.
and the next book I'm reading right now is like this book is a very strategic book. It's a very good read, and everybody in like who's entering the business level game should be at least reading this book once. It's a very common book again. It's called The Blue Ocean. The
The
Blue Ocean
Blueprint. Yeah,
Strategy.
yeah. Heard about it.
Yeah, it's a very wonderful, very strategic book, and every company should read this. Every founder, anyone should actually read this.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful strategies in place, how to avoid the red ocean and how to get into uncontested markets. That's what.
Right, right.
And this book has actually helped to build me both of my companies, Uptrust
Mm-hmm.
as well as Intriga. Very very nice book.
Amazing, amazing. Is there any founder or anyone you are studying? Any founder, anyone you are studying or following?
I basically again I follow three founders. Uh, they are all well very famous, and like one of them, like one is the richest person on this planet, Jeff Bezos.
Mm-hmm.
Elon Musk, again, he also is widely like
Yeah,
loved personality across the startup industry. Like you should listen to his story. You should like once hear him out. Also has his own book called The Elon Musk. So that's one book. You should read that
yeah.
book
I read that book,
actually.
Elon Musk.
Yeah, right. Very
Yeah.
nice book. So his entire story is very motivating. How he basically started from scratch, and how he has built these giant companies,
Mm-hmm.
like that too parallelly, like in spite of like hell lot of challenges like coming his way, he has managed to overcome all of them and has
Yeah.
established his position as one of the top level CEOs across in this
Mm-hmm.
industry, basically. And the last one is again the Grant Cardone. Again, he has been my virtual mentor, and I've learned really all the sales skills whichever I've learned so far is through him. Basically, the hustle, his life story, everything has basically inspired.
Cool, cool.
So yeah, that's all.
Amazing. Thank you
What
so
about
much.
you, Pushpak? Like,
Okay.
who's your favorite personality whom you try to follow or try to like basically stick to his
As a founder
this thing?
or like or
As a
found.
founder, any personality like whom do you usually like or like
Actually, there are lots of
who's that
founders.
name?
Naval Ravikant is there, which I am following. He's a founder of
Ravi
Inf.
Pillai. What is that?
Naval Ravikant.
Acha, Naval Ravikant.
He's a
Okay,
founder of AngelList. He's a
okay,
investor. Yeah, he's from Silicon Valley only. He's an Indian, but Indian
Uh-huh.
American basically. He's born in USA only.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay. And
Yeah, that's it. Not a lot of people, but of course, Baki, all these people, like Bezos and all these people like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. I've read books of Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. A lot of these people been following them for a long time.
correct,
But
correct. They have to be.
like this is not we won't putting this on a podcast. But when I was in college, now in the first year, I was really motivated about the startups entrepreneurship. I was super excited, super passionate about it. So at that time only, even I started my first venture in college only, right? So I read a lot of books, I was following a lot of people, consuming the content, good content. But after my first startup, like my startup was incubated at Bhav Institute. Like I wasn't making a lot of money with it, but eventually my startup, I had to stop it. And I got completely into different things. Like I'm not that motivated enough right now. I don't know, वो एक focus होता है ना, like वो भी है नहीं. I don't know where it went actually.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, it happens here. So again, the commitment and passion which I had for Apsaras, again right now I evolved. Basically, I got something better to do, and I moved on. So it's not about कि it's not always about कि if you have an idea वो तुमने सोचा plan किया ये किया तो it's not that you have to stick throughout your life कि वही करना है तुम्हें. You
Right.
have to change your plan. If you think कि that's not the right thing for you, it's always you can switch. You can always move on and do something better, right? So it's not about कि what you are doing कि वही करते ही रहना है, or it can be more about कि what this has already helped you in your life. It's the overall वो company में तुम्हारे life में वो role play हो चुका है.
Yeah.
Now go to the next thing which is much better and more interesting for you. So
Right.
for example, you're doing this podcast right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can come up with a way wherein you can start monetizing this channel or like whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know so far.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something which can happen good like in whatever you do.
Right. Right.
Yes.
So let's conclude it. So thank you so much, Ravi, for doing this. You have given us really amazing
Thanks
insight.
Pushpak for having me.
Yeah, it will inspire a lot of people, I'm sure. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.